Hello everyone! Thank you for visiting our channel. Have you ever experienced such like stories? Matthew and Sarah have been married for 6 years. The wife worked as a salesperson in a car dealership, while the husband worked as an ordinary middle-level manager in a logistics company. Sarah has always had great ambitions for earning. She had plans to travel abroad, buy a country house, and have a good overall income. Her husband was content with what he had. He did not want to exert himself too much at work and did not try to surpass his targets like his wife did. Once, she spoke to her husband about their joint plans for the next few years, and it turned out that he was not at all enthusiastic about moving to the countryside. Why did they even need a house? Why spend so much time commuting to and from work? The wife explained that she did not want to raise children in a city full of cars, noise, and dust. For the first time in years, the husband clearly stated that he did not like such a plan. "I don't want children right now," he said. "It's such a waste. We can't afford it now. That's why I exceed the targets at work every month. I want us not to skimp on anything during pregnancy and the first few years," said the wife. "And you should consider getting a promotion," she added. "Why bother? Everything is going well enough. Then I won't have any energy left for anything else," the husband replied. The wife was surprised and deeply concerned. In the past, when they discussed joint plans and she voiced her suggestions, the husband simply agreed without expressing any dissatisfaction, and she thought they were looking in the same direction. It turned out that he was not even willing to have children now. To say that the woman was upset at that moment would be an understatement. She began to listen more carefully to her husband and started to view his actions differently. It became clear that in pursuit of her own goals, she had overlooked something important. It turned out that the person she had decided to pursue her goals with did not aspire to anything. He worked, ate, watched entertainment shows, and that was it. He did not even want to put in the effort to have any deep conversations, which is why it was easier for him to simply agree with whatever was suggested. Blinded by her own aspirations, she forgot to look at who was really walking with her. One evening, when Matthew, as usual, was lying in front of the TV, his wife sat next to him and asked him to distract himself from the program he was watching. "You are as usual on the most interesting part," said the husband, taking the remote closer. "This is serious, Matthew," his wife said quietly. Seeing that she looked paler than usual and clearly worried about something, he turned off the program. "What happened?" he asked. "I think we need to get a divorce," she began nervously. "I realize that you and I have different views on our life together." Matthew looked at Sarah suspiciously, trying to understand if she was playing a prank on him. Not hearing any laughter, and knowing that she couldn't keep a serious face for long during jokes, he said, "Sarah, let's just calm down. Everything is fine with us. We're a normal family, nothing special, we hardly even argue. Relax. You seem tense." And he took her by the shoulders and pulled her closer to him. For several minutes, he hugged her in silence, trying not to escalate the situation into a conflict. His wife realized that he didn't even want to hear her out. Several times Sarah tried to convey her thoughts to her husband, but every time he perceived it as her overthinking something. In those moments, Sarah completely lost faith in their relationship. One evening, she stayed late at work. Her husband started calling her to find out if everything was okay, but she ignored the calls and sent a text message saying, "I can't talk right now." Unpleasant thoughts started creeping into his head, but he waited a little longer, made another attempt, and finally his wife answered. "I'll be home soon. I'll tell you later," she said. Her voice sounded very cheerful and satisfied. When she returned home, she began to enthusiastically tell him about a major client who was planning to buy cars from their salon for his taxi fleet. She said she was incredibly lucky that he came during her shift because such a sale would earn her a very significant amount of money. "So why were you late?" he asked, dissatisfied. He clearly wasn't impressed with her news. He took a long time to choose, and the consultation dragged on. Sarah replied shortly, noticing that her husband wasn't happy about her success. "Next time, come on time," he said, and went into another room. Matthew's dissatisfaction was actually hiding his concern. He suddenly realized that he could lose his wife because their relationship had become really cold lately, and now there were these wealthy clients. The next time his wife came home on time, but she brought a huge bouquet of roses with her. "Who are these from?" asked her husband, trying not to sound annoyed. "It's a thank you for a good deal. I told you about the client with the taxi company," she replied. Matthew couldn't contain his irritation and grabbed the flowers, throwing them in the trash. His wife was so disappointed in him that she didn't even say anything to him. That night, they slept separately for the first time. Needless to say, after this incident, Matthew and Sarah's relationship deteriorated completely. She no longer hurried home as before, and he stopped calling her and asking where she was. Only once, when she was delayed for almost an hour and a half, did he decide to go to her and see where she was. He was really tired of this silent game. He missed his wife and wanted to make peace. He opened the app on his phone that they only used in emergencies. Thanks to it, he could see on the map where exactly Sarah was. Driving to that address, he arrived at an expensive restaurant. And there, at a table by the window, sat his wife with some middle-aged man in an expensive suit. There was a fresh bouquet of flowers on the table in a vase, and they were drinking wine and talking. So now, the wealthy client was even spending evenings with her. The husband thought to himself and was about to disturb the couple when he saw the man take his wife's hand, and she didn't even flinch. It was clear that she enjoyed his attention. The husband entered the restaurant and headed to their table. "Do you know she's married?" He began the conversation in a raised voice. Sarah was ready to die of embarrassment for her behavior. "Married? I don't think it's for long," she said. Without losing his composure, the man in the suit looked Matthew up and down. Matthew was about to hit the man, but a security guard was already behind him and grabbed the unruly visitor. When they escorted the husband outside, Sarah went after him. "Why did you do that?" she asked calmly. "Because I love you, don't you understand?" her husband yelled. "I've told you several times about getting a divorce, but you didn't want to listen and didn't do anything to save our relationship," she said, shivering from the cold. "And is that a reason to go on dates with other men while you're still married?" he said angrily. "I had to show you somehow that it's all over," Sarah concluded. It really was the end. Matthew realized that nothing was holding his wife back from leaving him, since she allowed herself to go out to restaurants with some client. In the end, they got divorced. Sarah sighed with relief, but Matthew was angry with his wife the whole time. Maybe he really didn't pay enough attention to what she was saying, but on the other hand, it would have been more honest to end their previous relationship before starting a new one. What do you think about this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. And thank you for listening to the story until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and be sure to like this video, as it will help us promote the channel. All the best.